I want to start making these videos where I go through and I read books, classics, and make videos talking about them, analyzing them, breaking them down, sharing my thoughts. This is just the first video of me doing this, so it's probably not going to be that good. I did not grow up in school reading very many classics at all. Nothing from antiquity, not a lot of anything from history in general. Not even American classics like Huckleberry Finn, Tom Sawyer, Little House on the Prairie, Uncle Tom's Cabin. These are American classics. I live in America, went to American schools, and I read none of this. I think it's a testament to really how bad education has gotten. And as part of the goal, really the whole existence of this business, American Roots Academy, where I want to return to that early form of American education, classics are a must. Reading really good books are essential, they're integral. And so I am going through and reading some books, and I want to start making videos talking about them. And this first book that I recently finished reading is none other than Fahrenheit 451 by Ray Bradbury. This is a really good book. The first question that I had upon reading this book is, how have I never read this before? It's so good. So I want to kind of talk about this and break it down a little bit. But before we talk about the book, it helps to know a little bit about the author. Ray Bradbury was born in 1920, died in 2012, so he lived through the vast majority of the 20th century going on into the 21st century. Now, Fahrenheit 451 was written in 1953, and there were some big things going on in 53 that really moved him to write this book, or things that were just going on in general at the time. The first thing was the Cold War, which was a national geopolitical rivalry conflict between the Soviet Union and the United States and her allies. You also had the Red Scare, or McCarthyism, which was a period of national panic through the fear of rising left-wing political ideologies such as socialism and communism. Clearly, people back then understood the dangers of these ideologies much more than people do today. But there's really one thing in particular that happened that really moved Bradbury to author this book, and that was the invention of the television. It's something that's so universal today, it's in every single person's household, yet Bradbury was skeptical of this glowing box in the living room. He feared that people would gather around this box and reject reading and learning and only really start consuming mindless information and giving themselves in and over to entertainment. A lot of people think this book is along the lines of government tyrannical rule, but I think Ray Bradbury would argue otherwise. This book, it's a cautionary tale for sure, but the government didn't start out tyrannical. The people themselves stopped learning. They stopped reading books, and the government just came in and finished the job. There's more that can be said about that. But with that out of the way, we can get into the book itself, and I want to do a very quick, very brief, high-level overview, summary, synopsis of the book. So, spoilers ahead. The book, I always knew for the longest time that this was a book about burning books. That's literally where the name comes from. 451 degrees Fahrenheit is the temperature at which paper burns. But that is a disgustingly oversimplification of what this book is about. It's about a fireman named Guy Montag. That is actually his name. First name Guy, the most generic name ever. Last name Montag, which is hilarious if you're German. It literally just means Monday. Bro's last name is Monday. And he's a fireman, but in this universe, firemen do not put out fires, they start fires. He has a boss, the fire chief, whose name is Betty, if I'm pretty sure I'm pronouncing that correctly. And essentially books are illegal for reasons we will find out later in the book, but books are illegal in this universe, and so anytime a person is found out with a book, it rings to the nearest fire station, and then they go lather the house in a bunch of kerosene, light a match, and watch it go up in flames. And Montag thinks he's happy, but in reality, he's not. He met a girl named Clarice who is really just kind of like not really in with all this, in this reality kind of thing. You know, she basically points out to Montag that he's not happy. And really, that just begins a downward spiral of Montag having, you know, like this breakdown, like, I'm not happy. Then his wife tries to commit end, have to appease YouTube, commits end, attempts to anyway. He comes across a house he has to go burn. It's a woman with a pile full of books, but she chooses to burn with the books, go down with the ship, so to speak. And that just absolutely scars Montag. At this point, he's like, really, like, what are these books all about? And so he starts getting books, and then he is caught with them, and he has to have his house burned down, and then he essentially becomes a fugitive and escapes with a ragtag group of other people who share similar-ish stories to Montag. They're also fugitives, and they escape to the nearest whatever city, which I think someone was trying to go to St. Louis or something. The book takes place in an unspecified future American city, so there are references to other American cities, such as St. Louis in the book. But that's super high-level overview. And so now to get into the book, it's an absolutely fantastic book. And I think it's ultimately a cautionary tale against giving in to just technology and entertainment and forsaking learning, forsaking the dirtiness that is reality. I think one of the main themes of this book is the pursuit of universal human happiness, perhaps maybe a form of utilitarianism, but not exactly. But the pursuit of universal human happiness, I feel, is a really big theme in this book. And it just goes to show that it doesn't work. Universal human happiness doesn't work. Because the way the book explores it is, if you want people to be happy, well, then you have to eliminate what makes them unhappy. What makes people unhappy? A difference of opinions, disagreements, contentions. And so if you want to achieve happiness, you have to eliminate disagreement and contention, which is very difficult to do. And so really the best way to do that is give yourself into entertainment. Don't learn. Don't try to wrestle with the truth or philosophy or things that actually matter in life. Just give yourself into some fake reality, and then you'll be happy. Even though in reality it's not happiness, because when you try to manufacture happiness, you don't get happiness, you end up with numbness. And I think there are a couple of passages in the book that I want to read, and I think the first one that really sums up really well this whole idea of pursuing human happiness as the ultimate goal in life can be summed up in what I like to refer to as the Betty doctrine. Betty, remember, is the chief, he's the fire chief, he's Montag's boss, and he has a whole philosophy which basically explains the philosophy of the book. And so I have it here, and this is what it says. Luckily, queer ones like her don't happen often. We know how to nip most of them in the bud early. You can't build a house without nails and wood. If you don't want a house built, hide the nails and wood. If you don't want a man unhappy politically, don't give him two sides to a question to worry him. Give him one. Better yet, give him none. Let him forget there's such a thing as war. If the government is inefficient, top-heavy, and tax-mad, better it be all those than that people worry over it. Peace, Montag. Give the people contests they win by remembering the words to more popular songs, or the names of state capitals, or how much corn Iowa grew last year. Cram them full of non-combustible data. Chock them so damn full of facts that they feel stuffed, but absolutely brilliant with information. Then they'll feel their thinking. They'll get a sense of motion without moving. And they'll be happy, because facts of that sort don't change. Don't give them any slippery stuff like philosophy or sociology to tie things up with. That way lies melancholy. Any man who can take a TV wall apart and put it back together again, and most men can, nowadays is happier than any man who tries to slide rule, measure, and equate the universe, which just won't be measured or equated without making man feel bestial and lonely. I know, I've tried it. To hell with it. So bring on your clubs and parties, your acrobats and magicians, your daredevils, jet cars, motorcycle helicopters, your sex and heroin, more of everything to do with automatic reflex. If the drama is bad, if the film says nothing, if the play is hollow, sting me with the theremin loudly. I'll think I'm responding to the play when it's only a tactile reaction to vibration, but I don't care. I just like solid entertainment. That right there is the Betty Doctrine, summed up in a single page of this book. And I think it does a fantastic job of laying out the essential philosophy of the people in this book. They don't want the dirtiness that comes with reality and human progress and growth. They just want the entertainment. They just want to be happy, not worried with real concerns like war and stressing out over everything. Later on, when Montag joins up with his ragtag friends of fugitives, they also give a little bit more insight into the philosophy of this Betty Doctrine, and they say something like this. So now do you see why books are hated and feared? They show the pores in the face of life. The comfortable people want only wax moon faces, poreless, hairless, expressionless. We are living in a time when flowers are trying to live on flowers instead of growing on good rain and black loam. Even fireworks, for all their prettiness, come from the chemistry of the earth. Yet somehow we think we can grow, feeding on flowers and fireworks, without completing the cycle back to reality. This is a really good extension and explanation furthering the Betty Doctrine. People have this unrealistic expectation of perfection, and people don't want to associate with anything dirty that comes with real growth and real progress forward. Later, these friends tell Montag essentially what their goal is next. They are to become dust jackets for the truth. They are not to become the truth itself, but rather dust jackets for the truth. Which is to say that we are to protect the truth, curate the truth, and keep it safe and ready for the people who are actually ready to hear the truth themselves. Because we even see this in today's day and age, when people don't want to hear the truth, let alone if they think it doesn't even exist. There's a whole group of people today who thinks that truth is subjective, but when you don't want to hear the truth, or you don't think it exists, and you are confronted with the truth, then people are going to try to attack it and destroy it. And so we need to protect the truth and make it available for people who are ready for the truth, who want to hear it. But I don't know. Those are just my thoughts on the book. I want to start making these kinds of videos where I go through some classics, some novels, some books, and read them and analyze them, give my thoughts. Those are my thoughts on Fahrenheit 451. Hopefully you enjoyed. Subscribe and follow for more.